Hey guys, it's Matt. Welcome back to another episode of Not Nilk Movie Reviews. The title of this video is How True is Jupiter Ascending? How true is the movie Jupiter Ascending? And what would you pay to be a fly on the wall for anybody that stumbled upon this video because I used the term Jupiter Ascending as one of their favorite movies? Would say, oh, I heard about these people. This really exists. This guy is about to make a presentation where he thinks there's this house of Abraxas that rules the entire universe like Dune. And a guy really does fly around on gravity boots, not in a way that anybody that stumbled upon this video thinks I'm going to, but yes, there is truth in Jupiter Ascending. Not in the dumb story about the guy with no shirt that flies around in his stupid gravity boots, but in the general message that comes out of a fake, poorly written excuse for a terrible movie. There's truth that comes out of it in a roundabout way. The popcorn crushers go in, just see the laser battles, and the girl that cleans the toilets becomes the emperor of the universe. No, there's truth as to how this reality actually, the one you're in, the person stumbling upon this video, there's truth as to how this whole reality works in the movie. And that one person's like, this is insane, but I'm somewhat intrigued. I mean, should I take a risk and actually listen to this? Let me break in during your thought processes right now. You could go back to the movie reviewers that you know then, the one complaining about Kathleen Kennedy, Disney's doing this, woke. Go back to that bullshit. Oh, yeah, Harrison Ford, Indy 5, that's going to ruin that franchise. Go back over there or stay here if you want to learn something. Now I have to talk to my regular subscribers, so sit down and shut up. The main theme in Jupiter Ascending, other than following the personal story of Jupiter Jones going from cleaning toilets to becoming the queen and princess of the entire universe, other than that, the main theme is human energy harvesting. The harvesting of humans in the movie, they are killed or they die, their energy or life stuff is taken, so this ruling class of the universe, which I think is called House of Abraxas, they must have stole that right from Dune, the House of Abraxas stays immortal. She had some makeup on, top right. She looked like she was about 45 or so, but she gets into this pool, and she comes out now 25 again. The image at the top left, it looks like two mountains. They're canisters, stacked canisters of how they harvest the humans on Earth. Each canister that glows white, they say, is 100 humans. And how many canisters do they have to dump in this pool for her to be refreshed 20 years? They don't say how often she has to get into the pool. Doesn't matter. They have an unlimited supply of human harvesting, which, if that person still stumbled upon this, if you're still here, that's how this reality works to a degree. There's something here in the shadows, I won't tell you what I call it, you'd think that was insane and turn the video off, that actually uses the energy of real spirits, of real, quote, human beings to sustain itself as its food. The entire reality plays a trick. So those that can produce the energy produce the frequency or the type of food or energy that it likes. That's why the entire world is nothing but worry, stress, fear of war, anxiety, fear of late bills, relationship issues, trauma, friction. That's why see, it doesn't have to be this way. That's why the whole reality is laid out this way, because something needs that sort of negative energy. That if all the people just, by that rationale, if all the people that produce this energy just decided to change the frequency of it and not fall for the trick, that thing wouldn't have anything to eat. Exactamundo. So the movie Jupiter Ascending depicts this super elite class. They rule the entire universe. This Earth's little solar system is just one tiny fragment of all they own. Congratulations on the enormity of your success. This woman here is one of the three, I guess, children that took the inheritance. And they got this solar system, and she got this Earth, and they got this part of the galaxy, and they got this nebula. It's all broken up amongst three people. And she gets in this pool every so often, and she comes back 20 years younger. Again, this is how, in a way, our reality works. But it's not like these people that you could point at in a police lineup. Here it's three people. They have to have actors playing it. It wouldn't be much of a movie if they just had this dark thing in the shadows. How would that work out? Like the smoke that came by Charlton Heston's door, the angel of death, that's more like what it's here that needs the energy. It wouldn't work in a movie. So it's depicted these three people own everything, and it has to be physical. It has to be a movie. They pour the liquid sustenance of humans into their pool. The reality, this is real, if you're still here, stumbled upon this. The reality here, the dark part, uses frequency, energy, things that are in the ether, things that don't make for a very good movie. So it's depicted like this horse shit in Jupiter Ascending. Let's do some movie stuff, bring you up to speed on the movie if you haven't seen it. 2 minutes or less if you have seen it before we get back to the truth stuff. All right, 30 seconds ago, that image where the girl was coming out of the pool. She's one of the 3 siblings that inherited the entire universe from Jupiter Jones, who's a reincarnation of the mother that died, and I'll get back into that in a moment. The older brother, who got a little bit bigger inheritance, is played by this horrible, cringeworthy actor that you never want to see or come across in anything, but his horribleness actually works here. This Eddie Redmayne that played Stephen Hawking in Fantastic Beasts. And if you want to ruin a movie, put Eddie Redmayne in it. But he's so bad, it works here. So he's the older brother and the number one. They're all assholes. He's the biggest asshole. It's like, I don't think it's yet time, brother, to harvest the earth. That I literally did better than he did, but it works. He's so bad it works. Let me show you the other asshole. This is the third or the younger brother, Titus Abraxas. Look what he's wearing. That he inherited the entire universe. So the 3 of them, and they're all assholes. They're all 3 of them. The girl is okay. I guess she's not as devious as these 2 guys. But what does Patina say in Django? She'd say to him if Patina was there, she'd say, "You mean you want to dress like that? Who would want to put that on?" But he's a much better actor than this Eddie. I don't know who this guy is. You put this guy in anything that Eddie's ever done. This guy should have been the Fantastic Beasts guy. So then at least it would be watchable. He can actually act, unlike Eddie. This is the star of the movie, Mila Kunis, her name is, as the actress. She plays Jupiter Jones, thus the title of the movie, Jupiter Ascending. She ascends from literally a toilet cleaner. She helps her aunts and her grandparents clean homes around Brooklyn or Queens, wherever they live. And she finds out she's like heir to the universe. She's some sort of reincarnation of the mother who is dead, but the mother that gave birth to those 3 assholes that we just went over, she's a perfect genetic match, and therefore goes through the process to become royalty of this house Abraxas. And of course, because before they take her inheritance, then the other kids, they want her dead. And you know how it works in a movie like this. But thus you have Jupiter Ascending. It's the biggest rags to riches ever presented in movie history. We've heard of a Cinderella and whatever, all this stuff, and Kiss the Frog, and Prince from a frog to a princess and all that. She goes from a toilet cleaner to like ruling most of the universe, or having at least a share, not in ruling from here to Neptune, the entire universe, whatever Carl Sagan depicts it as. I mean, which is entirely real. What Carl Sagan says goes, of course. What Neil of the Grass-Fed says goes. So this is the biggest rags to riches in all of movie history. Matt, you gonna give spoilers? I can't. I didn't see the end again. It just gets so bad for me. I'm serious. Like 3 or 4 years ago, I saw it. I turned it off after about an hour. Same thing happened. Turned it off. Greg said it's on, is it Tubi? Greg says it's on Tubi for another day or 2, or it's going to leave Tubi. Now, this movie's overall pretty bad, but no matter who watches it, there's probably 4, 5, or 6 scenes everybody's going to like. And this bureaucracy scene, it's worth seeing the movie, guys, or actually I'll link to it. I will link to the bureaucracy scene. It's incredibly well done. Let me do 45 seconds or less in this bureaucracy scene. Okay, she's now identified as the reincarnation of the original mother that ruled the universe. She needs to, it's like if you lose your social security card and your birth certificate and trying to prove who you are to the DMV, she has to reestablish who she is so she can get all her royal titles back and whatever, lands, I don't know. But it's this center of the universe for House Abraxas. Imagine the busiest part of New York City, but stretching out for like thousands of miles. It's just a mass of humanity, the way certain Star Wars prequels depicted, Coruscant or whatever, just people everywhere. So even though she's supposed to be the top or connected to the top royalty in all the universe, she has to get in line with everybody else. This bureaucracy scene is 2 minutes of absolute greatness. She has a little robotic, you don't know if it's a real man or a robot or a cyborg, to take her through the lines. Of course, every place she gets to, oh, you needed to come with this paperwork. Go up to level 7. Go down to level 41. Endless paperwork, endless lines. She's in it with everybody else. It is really, really great. Now, right when she's about to get her royal seal and all the paperwork established to prove who she is after being in all these lines all day long, makes the DMV in downtown Chicago look like a walk in the park. Two things happen. Very interesting. Again, they've been in lines all day long and they have another problem. And this guy's like, it's time to bribe somebody. Like, okay, we can't get into another line. I can't go down to level 40 or whatever. Oops, I dropped 100 credits or whatever they use as currency. And the bribe finally gets them over the top. I mean, that's kindergarten truth. That's how every reality system works, not just Earth, right? But the other thing, okay, now that you have everything you need to get the final seal and paperwork, the final royal seal, you go to a special level. Guess what? I'll give you two guesses, but you're only going to need one. What level do you think they suggest? The 9 paired with it? Well, close, but level 33. Level 33 is empty, just for royal seals, just for royalty. The lines don't exist up there. It's just one-on-one. And the royal seal turns out not to be paperwork, but some sort of tattoo that goes under the skin, exactly the way the truth community was all fixated on this Luciferian A's a couple years ago. I could put Luciferian A's under Evolve. No, Luciferian mayonnaise. That's the way, though, they depict it in Jupiter Ascending. It's like a tattoo, this glowing stuff, a royal seal under the skin. Again, there's nobody but this one ancient old man working on level 33. You could just get the impression that, oh, the regular folks can't get in there. Although it is messy, but it's quiet compared to this whole bureaucratic, endless day of mobs and lines and mess that they've been through all day long. She gets her royal seal, which establishes her as one of the House Abraxas. Thank you, sir. May I have another? Thank you, sir. May I have another? I've gotten wind that there's a thorn in the side of House Abraxas. Who is this quantum of conscious son of a bitch? And where are my lizard warriors? I'm not kidding. The acting of Eddie Redmayne is that bad, but it works. I'll admit, too, I'm big enough to say it works. There are certain movies where bad performances turn out to work. The best example of all time for that is Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves in, what was it, Point Break. Oh, my gosh. This scene with Gary Busey, where they're about to have a fight up on the top of the Hollywood Hills, and Gary Busey's like, these guys are ghosts, and then Keanu Reeves getting all upset. He's like, you mad? You mad? It feels good, doesn't it? Man, you're not just dead yet. Gary Busey, I was taking shrapnel case on when you were pooping in your shorts. Well, let's go out and get these guys. It's not that bad, but it's almost that bad. The movie talks a bit about the human being basically created or genetically engineered for planet seeding. So when populations reach a certain mass, the planet will be harvested for energy and loosh for these assholes that run House Abraxas. It does relate to the things we've heard in the truth community for many years about the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki were here. They created the human race as a slave race. And I don't dabble in that stuff. I don't really get into that. I don't turn my nose up at those theories because it's obvious that we didn't come from monkey men like Darwin. I mean, that's just obvious. So I don't think you should do a lot of truth research at all anymore. I mean, that's the bog, trying to figure out what reality breadcrumbs are going to be shown to you about how the Anunnaki genetically created the human or whatever's alluded to in Jupiter Ascending. I think they used the term, or they said 100,000 years ago, the human was genetically created for the harvesting. They come back and do the harvest. This is very similar. If anybody's screaming at me, what, ants in a bug's life? Absolutely. Ants in a bug's life. The very small group of cricket, grasshopper assholes come back to harvest. Not to harvest the ants themselves in the case of those two animated movies, but the bounty that the ants have produced. Is that just another allusion to this sort of loosh? Either way, I don't think you should follow the yellow brick road of breadcrumbs, but we agree, those that investigate this Anunnaki crap, that we agree we didn't come from no monkey man. We didn't come from no marmot. Darwin's evolution is ridiculous. If I could ever have my goal and quest in life, if I could do this, I'll be done. I'm done. If I can debate somebody at the university level that is a Darwinologist or whatever you call these jerks, that believes in Darwin, oh, please, that would be the best thing of all time. There is nothing stupider. You stupid. There's nothing dumb. Somebody actually said, Matt, when you do that Max Headroom stuff, I get a little scared and I think you could be some sort of AI. I can't prove to you that I'm not, but I'm not. There's nothing dumber than believing in Darwin, that we came from marmots and hamsters. Matt, you gonna reveal spoilers? You got spoilers? No, I didn't watch the damn movie till the end. I don't have no spoilers. I can't get through the dumb thing. I think there's some great scenes, but it's pretty bad. Overall, it's pretty bad. Remember the three kids, the three jerks that inherited the entire universe. The sister this is shown before she gets in the pool or tub. She looks like she's in her 40s, goes in the pool for 5 seconds, comes out in her early 20s. Her name is like Kalik, something like that. She's the first one to meet up with this Jupiter Jones, the reincarnation of her mother, of her own mother. It's the exact genetic duplication. They believe in some form of, when the genes come together, it's for a reason that she is some sort of reincarnation of the mother that had just died. Now, in many ways, including what she says in maybe this scene, it is a huge representation of the minion class that exists in this reality. Person stumbling upon this, are you still here? The minion class are not the same as we are. They're not the same spiritually as we are. The Lady Gagas of the world, the Melvin P's of the Blendon Melvin P. Foundation, Bezzo, these whole minion class. There's some are real people that just got too far under the dragon's wing, but there's a role-playing minion class here, and is Bill or Melvin exactly as powerful as these Abraxas, the three people that rule the entire universe? No, but it is a depiction of the minion class. The first reason for that is what she says in this scene, or a similar scene that's relatively early on when she meets Jupiter Jones. Kalik, or whatever her name, is talking to Jupiter Jones and says, like, we have all the money and power and influence in the world, and only one thing is important, Jupiter. You'll learn that, dearie. Only one thing is important, time. This harvesting of energy and humans and planet harvesting gives us more time. The mother lived to be 14,000 years old, or no, 90,000 years old. She's 14,000 years old by just continuously going into the jacuzzi tub, pouring the bubbles in this case, and throwing the rubber duckies is actually human loosh. So, but this is exactly what a minion would say if they were tied to this reality, if they had no spiritual self. This is what the atheist would do, or a entity of some kind that realizes they're attached to the material universe, or they have no spiritual bridge or rainbow bridge out, or whatever. The only thing we have is time, and Jupiter should have been like, well, let's just say Jupiter, she wasn't the same as these Abraxas, even though genetically in the body she could be a completely different spiritual entity. Of course, the movie didn't get into any of that, but Jupiter, let's just say she would have done our truth investigation for the last 10 years. She could have turned back. She would, what? Why do I give a shit about time or whatever? It's kind of cool. You can get into a pool and go back 20 years, but I'm a spiritual being. This is just one tiny train stop in the whole of everything. Like, why do you three assholes, supposed to be my brothers and sisters, why do you do and go through such lengths to hold on to your life here? Oh, I see. You don't have nothing else. You don't have nothing else. All you got is this. Haven't you ever considered you're actually a spiritual being, and there might be, you should want to die at this point. It's like the guy in season 6 or episode 6 of Sandman. By the way, guys, episode 6 of Sandman is so good, it's worth seeing, even if it's not your thing. Episode 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then it gets horrible after 6, other than the quest of cats. The animation Cats that comes later is incredible. But episode 6 of Sandman is so good, it's worth seeing 1 through 5, getting to 6. And it's not the first part about where he dream walks with his sister Death, and the moments where they witness people die. That's incredible. But the scene after that, I've alluded to or talked about it before, where the guy wishes to never die. This is an NPC. This is some sort of entity that's here. They're McLoving life. That it's expressed in so many different ways, even in this movie. Jupiter would say, you must realize you are a being that has nothing else than this. I have something else. I don't want to go through planet harvesting to hold on to my life. How sick is that, bitch? Just to go back and correct something, I mean, the guy in episode 6 of Sandman, where he's given immortality, and Dream says, oh, after a few hundred years, he'll be begging for death. Nobody would want to continue this existence, and every 100 years he comes back and wants more. That is the NPC that realizes they have nothing else. I didn't mean to say that about these Abraxas kids. This, to me, is the minion class. Now, many in our community think they are tied to this realm and they have nothing else. But others would say have nothing else, meaning they die but then come back into another body with prior knowledge or carrying ancient wisdom, so they stay, quote, on top, whatever your definition of that is, on top. Who would want to be on top in that way? To me, it's on the bottom. But Matt, you just saying that to make yourself feel good. Believe what you want, person that stumbled upon here. I wouldn't trade places with Melvin P. and the Belinda and Melvin P. found. I wouldn't trade places for all the peanuts in Jimmy Carter's backyard. I wouldn't do it. Absolutely not. These people offer me nothing. Once you realize you're a real person, it offers you nothing. You wouldn't, the celebrity, the money, nothing appeals to the real person, in my opinion. I can't speak for you. I'm not saying once every 5 years if a NetJets showed up in Philadelphia and all expenses paid to Paris, I wouldn't get on and go, assuming I could get into the France without paperwork or something. I'd go. I'm not completely devoid of having fun, but to pursue that or covet it is ridiculous to real people. Correction, you know what I'm saying. To covet the lifestyle, the bowing down to celebrity, the watching of the Academy Awards and wishing you were in the front rows, the covet of the lifestyle. Everybody wants a vacation. I'm not, you know what I'm saying. It's natural. I'm saying to give certain things up, to trade places with that lifestyle, of course, is what I'm saying, is ridiculous to real people. So these super rich, powerful, wealthy House Abraxas, represented through these 3 children, seem to represent the minion class here in this reality. In some ways they're better off, in some ways they're worse off. They're worse off because they can't die. They realize they're not spiritual beings. They realize they don't have anything else. That's why the grandma was 90,000 years old. She's 14,000. They can't die. People like Tony would tell me that the entity that plays the role here of minion, like Melvin P., it's a different spiritual entity that's lower than you, but they can die, and they come back. They just come back into this reality system, playing the same or similar role as that type of spiritual entity, maybe with a prior knowledge or a different relationship with a different type of higher self, where they don't come in with a complete Tommy, deaf, dumb, and blind kid mind wipe. So they keep coming back in the same status and class. The doors are always open to them. So they do die the way, or my best understanding of the minion class here, but are they bound to constantly come back here? Or, Tony says they're lower creatures than you, but if they decided to make certain decisions, they could eventually get to where we are. And I know that's for anybody, my gosh, that sounds like the ultimate rationalization for the great unwashed psychotic that tries to believe they're greater than they really are. And you know what I'll say? Believe what you want. I guarantee that resonates with almost every one of the old guard, anybody that's been here as a real person for longer than a few years. It absolutely resonates. You see these clowns on the news and these people running around parading themselves as billionaires, and it's obvious they can't use their money the way they would want to use their money. It's obvious that that is a lower entity than you are. Nobody believes I'm saying it to make myself feel better. Point 1, to summarize, these 3 brothers and sisters for House Abraxas, they realize, or say in the movie, they can never die. They don't trust there will be an afterlife for themselves. That's why they go 14,000 years, whatever. They have to go into the pool. Compared to them, and one more time, the minions here, they can die, but likely come right back into the Earth system with some degree of knowledge and already a silver spoon, so they get right back into the same class or control structure that they participated in before. Some people in our community think they are forever trapped here. I don't know. According to Tony, he says they can move on, but they're game addicted. They're not willing to take the steps we've taken. Okay, that's point 1. Point 2, related to the potential truth in the movie Jupiter Ascending regarding this minion class, as it's shown in the movie, These three are the most powerful. This is the top of the org chart. There is no not milk. There is no screen. Of course, that's how they have to do it in the movie. The highest of high. Okay. But here in this reality, we see that these minions, they are implementers for something else. If you can see the face or the name on television or in a magazine or in the Wall Street Journal, that's a minion. To me, there are minions that don't show their face, like the old money. Where do you think all the old money went? All the old money is still here. We're given the same bullshit story. Oh, they just pissed it away. Oh, you know the story about the Vanderbilts. And oh, sure, all the old money, all they had to do was put it in a bank in 1890, and it would be worth 1 to 2 trillion today if they had no investments, missed the entire pharmaceutical stocks, and missed the age of oil and gas, and missed the entire internet. Just did nothing. But sure, all the old money's pissed away. And actually, my friend Tony, tried to explain to me once how that happens. Okay, so the old money, again, if it's something that walks and talks and can put a suit and a tie on, it's a minion. That is not the top of the org chart, in my opinion. There's something here, like a Christian would call Satan, that I call not milk. I call the asshole dark, the plumber's ass crack that hangs over reality. It's like a gigantic egregore, in a sense. These minions, who knows exactly what they're aware of, what their role is, they implement what the not milk wants. Did they commune with it? Did they sit down and have tea with it? Can they talk to it like Snoke in the bad Star Wars movies? I don't know if it can act like Snoke, the not milk, and right now I don't think so. I think these minions, every day that goes by, I believe less and less have an understanding of reality. They don't understand their role, in my opinion. The first grade truth and what we believed 10 years ago is, well, we know that Dick Cheney was the handler for George W., but he must have reported to somebody that just knew everything, like this House of Braxis. The only way we could comprehend what was going on in our minds was it has to be like House of Braxis. Not that there's spaceships flying around and shit like that, but there's this high level of somebody in the flesh, or even, a demon or something you can look at or throw tomatoes at, or something you could have tea with or whatever, something that could throw up pea soup like The Exorcist all over you. I don't think so. That's why I call it the screen. Something here that it has it's not just minions like George Soros or Henry Kissinger. It has most people, your cousins. So most people serve it. And again, Greg's recently family issues where one family member's running around saying even as low as a 5-year-old should be able to flip-flop back and forth in terms of if they believe they're a boy or, that sort of thing. And then the older family members get pissed off. It creates friction, loosh, energy, tension, worry, stress. I don't think there's anything like in the body that's feeding off the loosh. I think the minions are rewarded in another way. I don't know. I've never been into Eyes Wide Shut party. I think there's something here. It could be like an egregore entity that's just grown in influence, and its new tool is the AI. But so it can't be depicted in the movie Jupiter Ascending. At the end of the day, it's a movie. So the three top people are these people in the flesh that look like kings and queens, and there can't be this dark, shadowy thing. It wouldn't work in the movie. I think that's how this reality operates. And if anybody would ask, how much did they know when they made the movie? If it wasn't for the Wachowskis, if it wasn't for the Wachowskis, whatever. If it wasn't for the Wachowskis, who also did The Matrix, I think it is very possible that a movie could be made like this that has tremendous truth in it without the director, producer, writer knowing anything about how reality works. I think artists and writers and songwriters can channel truth. And I think if you were to sit down with them and discuss the truth or the spiritual message you're getting, they would have no idea what you're talking about. But let's go back to the Wachowskis. Okay. Not that, Matt, are you saying the Wachowskis have an incredible grasp and understanding of how reality? I'm almost positive that those dummies don't. But it is the Wachowskis, the Matrix, the Wachowskis. Ooh, they are used. The Matrix is just too important to the not milk. I don't buy for 1 second these people running around the internet saying they wrote it and it was stolen. All obvious bullshit backstories to draw attention away. The Wachowskis are involved here. Who knows why they are used to deliver certain truths? I don't even know what other movies the Wachowskis made. I guess I should look into it. But The Matrix is just too important to the not milk. There's too much truth flows out of it. Even now with what Morpheus said 20 some years ago about the AI, we marveled in our creation of AI, and here it comes now. So the Wachowskis involved here means more than I would say under normal circumstances. They did know what they were doing here. And if that was the case, and whatever reasons this movie needed to be put out, didn't matter if it barely made its money back, which means it lost, and the financials have nothing to do with it when it's about what the not milk needs to do, what truth needs to be delivered by contract or for whatever reason, even for its own purposes, has nothing to do with the box office, has nothing to do with the movie returns. Finally, I can't analyze potential truth in a movie called Jupiter Ascending without talking about Jupiter. Now, this is beyond my pay grade. I am not an expert at astrology. I'll just, I'll tell you what I know, what I've heard Levette talk about, things like that. First off, there's no doubt if this movie does contain truth, and it certainly seems to, I'm sure the old guard would agree based on the presentation I just made, that it's just not a coincidence that it's Jupiter ascending. The ascending of Jupiter, their astrology, announcing the coming of where their astrology is going. Again, above my pay grade, Levette says their astrology is based on Sirius and Jupiter, not Saturn. Saturn, demonized as Satan, is not the prime planet for the creeps, according to certain experts like Levette. Again, I'm just parroting back what I've heard. I don't know shit about this. But it does, what I've heard and what people have said lines up with me. I keep my eyes on how the creeps and the not milk does business. This makes sense. No doubt, wherever we disagree, that Jupiter is not just some fun name, that it's there for a reason. They couldn't just use Mercury rising. It was all about Jupiter. There's a reason for that. Absolutely connected with this truth review. I wish I could offer more. I can only tell you it's there 100% on purpose. By the way, I'm looking at this composite image as I'm giving this part of the presentation. It can't be a real image. They just shoved a little Earth into the red spot of Jupiter to show how large the spot is relative to the Earth. Guys, I don't believe in Carl Sagan's general description of what the solar system really is or the cosmos. But the point is, I remember in elementary school or junior high, they told us 100 Earths could fit into the red spot of Jupiter. And now it's 1.5. By the way, the red spot to me, I've never talked about this, and again, way above my pay grade, that all-seeing eye on the back of the dollar bill, to me, it's Jupiter. It's the red spot is the all-seeing eye. Why are you saying that? I have no idea. If I had to pick one behind door number 1 on The Price is Right, what does the all-seeing eye represent to creeps? To me, Jupiter and particularly the red spot of Jupiter. Who knows based on nothing? But no one's ever given me a good explanation of what the all-seeing eye is. I've heard a bunch of horse shit that I don't buy for a second. Eye of Providence. I mean, go do your own research. There's nothing more ridiculous than going to do your own research on the Eye of Providence and what Wikipedia and Britannica says that is. I mean, give me a break. Finally, to conclude, I said several times this movie's bad. I know people will go, I can't get that time back. I never said to watch it. I said it's bad. And now that we've reviewed it like this, there is no reason to see it. Watch the Bureaucracy scene. I'll link to it. Some people, there's some parts for the first hour I thought were pretty good. It's overall bad. It's not for most people. And, I want to make sure I'm clear on that. I can't get that time back. Don't watch it. Speaking of people stumbling upon the video, I'm looking at the two names top right. What if Mila Kunis came upon this video? Or what? That's the guy's name, Channing Tatum? Channing? It's a good thing you're a big guy. Probably would have been picked on. Channing Tatum. Mila, look, I understand you don't understand what we're talking about here. We're not as crazy as we seem. You and me, Mila. Okay, it's Ashton Kutcher's wife, Matt. Well, I don't know. You think he's faithful? Mila, well, book us into the room. You and me, book us into the room, and I'll explain this. I'll do a private session explaining your own movie to you when Ashton's away. Contact me, Mila. Thanks for listening.